Anybody else feel like you're running on empty? But not just physically, spiritually. In today's episode, we're talking about fasting, not just as a tradition, but as a tool that sharpens our hunger for God. What if the things we thought we needed most are actually keeping us from what we truly crave? Let's talk about why our desires matter, how fasting reveals what rules us, and how Jesus invites us into something deeper. Here on the Pastor's Potluck Podcast, our goal is to encourage you and maybe in the process, entertain you. If you're ready, let's dig in. Welcome to another episode of the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. I'm excited for this. I was kind of going over your notes and just reading through it, and it was one of those things to where I know that we've talked a lot about this for several weeks earlier this year on the topic of fasting, but we didn't want to skip over it because it is a part of the Sermon on the Mount. Yeah. And we're in this series of talking through Jesus's the sermon that we've dealt with heart issues, we've dealt with anger, we've dealt with generosity. And now we're getting into this portion of fasting that Jesus is talking about. And so we do want to encourage you that we are going to cover some topics today, but if you want to go more in depth with your knowledge of fasting and maybe just get a better understanding of exactly what it is, you can go back and listen to our series. I think we did maybe 4 or 5 weeks of fasting earlier this year, but it was very fruitful conversation, that is for sure. But in your sermon series, I'm going over the notes. One of the first highlighted things that you have here is that, actually, you should probably set this up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, set it up for it.
So fasting, the way that we set the sermon up, fasting is kind of this tool that the Lord has given us that helps break dependence and creates desire. And so, one of the first things that I highlight in the sermon was that the only way to overcome one desire is to have a competing desire that becomes even more desirable.
Yes.
So, we can say in life that we want all sorts of things, right? We want to get healthier. We want to get spiritually healthier. We want to get physically healthier. We want to get mentally healthier. But, if we don't have a desire, we might just say that we want those things. But if there's not a desire that's actually greater than the desire that you have to stay the same, then you actually don't make any changes. And so that's kind of why this tool of fasting is so important, is that it's something that God has given us that really when we fast, and we're not talking about some sort of intermittent fasting, which is kind of like the in vogue thing around fasting right now. We're not talking about something that's just merely about helping you physically, but when you deprive yourself of something that you have a necessity for, then when you have those times where you go without, what it's doing is creating a desire for something greater. Yeah. And that lack of desire for food and during those times of fasting can lead to a greater desire for God. And so that's the importance of fasting, is what we're trying to do is increase our desire for God and our closeness and proximity to God. And when you get to this section that we're in right now, Jesus has talked about giving, and he talks about how this does not need to be something that is a public thing. He talked about prayer and how prayer, don't go be like the Pharisees and make prayer all about you and it's all showing and all this. And the same thing with fasting. The people, especially the religious elite of the day, would make sure everyone around them knew that they were fasting. Yeah. And Jesus is going, it's not supposed to be like that. Fasting is supposed to be something between you and the Lord. But I do love that Jesus starts this portion out about fasting with these words, when you fast. Yeah. And when you hear those words, that should be immediately convicting and compelling for many of us.
Yeah, it's not if you fast.
Exactly. It's not if you get around to it. Yeah. If you ever reach a certain level of spiritual maturity that you might do it. No, Jesus goes, when you fast. Yeah. I was actually just watching. I am getting I go really hot and cold with the show The Chosen.
Yeah.
I do like the production value of it, but I also get a little bit irritated with the additional storylines that aren't in the Bible.
Yeah.
But right now I'm really into watching it. In the episode I was watching this morning, Jesus is sitting around the table with some of the disciples. And if you don't know, some of the disciples that were Jesus's were formerly John the Baptist's disciples. And so there is a discussion going on at the table about fasting. And John's former disciples, now Jesus' disciples, are going, when we were with John, he had a pretty strict regimen for when we fast. And he's like, now that we're with you, you've never, as our rabbi, ever commanded us to fast. And Jesus makes this statement. He says, yeah, because when the bridegroom is here, there's no need, like, because what we're doing is we fast to get closer to God. And his point was, I'm not having you all fast because here I am. I'm right here among you.
Yeah.
He said, but there will be a time when I'm gone that will necessitate fasting. And that time period that he's speaking of is still to this day. And so he's not mincing words or making this a confusing statement. He says, when you fast, like if you're a Christian and within a given year, there's not some sort of fast. Like we started our year with a fast here.
Yeah.
I would challenge you to go, how are you living out Jesus' words of when you fast? That's how, and you go, well, we got a lot going on. And listen, it's supposed to be a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Right? We were fasting the first, what did we do, 30 days?
Yeah.
At the beginning of this year. Megan and I had to go to San Antonio for a regional pastors gathering right in the middle of this fast.
Yeah.
I mean, we're right down on the Riverwalk of San Antonio.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no shortage of amazing things that we can
Eat.
indulge in.
Yeah.
And I told her when we were going on this trip, I said, just because we're traveling doesn't mean that we're stopping what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so like our fast was 1 meal a day, that we were going to fast from 1 meal a day. And so right there in the middle of this trip, when no one else around us is doing this,
Yeah.
Megan and I are going to keep this private discipline of fasting because we're in the middle of trying to draw closer to the Lord. And so you might, our family is so busy, or we got this going on, or that. I was on a fast one time. I was in New York City on a mission trip. And it's like, how often do you go to New York City on a mission trip?
Yeah.
Granted, now at that point in my life, I was going pretty regularly. But I was like, I'm in the middle of a fast. I'm not just going to say, well, my life is too complicated right now to do this. And I remember one particular day I was on this fast, and all I would do from 10 to 5 during this given fast I was doing no food, only water and black coffee between 10 and 5 for 40 days. We were on a prayer journey. I think it was a prayer journey or something where we ended up in Spanish Harlem, and they took us to a Dominican restaurant.
Yeah.
Now, again, we're from West Virginia. How often do we get to experience that?
Yeah.
And it happened to be a baseball-themed Dominican restaurant, which I'm a gigantic baseball fan. All the meals are like named after great Dominican baseball players.
Yeah, they have the
It's
Sosa
like a-
hot dog, and
For a lot of people, it's like this is going to be that restaurant's probably not even open anymore. It was like probably a once in a lifetime opportunity.
yeah.
And I sat there and drank the strongest coffee I've ever drank in my life.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to eat the food that everyone else around me was.
Yeah.
Because life circumstances don't dictate. Like when you commit, hey, I'm going to fast because I'm drawing closer to the Lord. When that's what you commit to, like life circumstances, your business, your personal preferences, none of that matters. And so I just really want to challenge you, like Jesus' words, when you fast, there's an expectation on you as a believer in Jesus that at some point on your journey, you are going to be called to a fast. And now let me get into some specifics.
Well, just to kind of get back to just a little bit, because I know that you're not one. This is not a prideful thing of you sharing like this testimony, but it just hammers home the idea that the strongest desire does always win.
Yes.
In your case and in your scenario and what you were going through, your desire was to grow closer to God. And so you said it didn't matter if I was hungry or if I wanted to eat this, because it's so easy. I think it's very easy for all of us to kind of justify food, right?
Yep.
I'm hungry, I eat. I need this for substance. I need this for energy. I need this for clarity and focus. Whatever the sentence that you want to put there is.
Yeah.
But we have to get to a point to whatever our physical desires are, they have to be less than my desire to be growing closer to God.
Yeah. And if that's not, and I understand that for a lot of people, that's not where they're actually at.
Yeah.
And you go, well, right now my desire is for these other things. That's the power of fasting.
Yeah.
In that moment, do you think my desire to eat that food at the Dominican restaurant was higher than my desire to be fasting? It definitely was.
Oh, yeah.
The way that you discipline your desires and create a stronger one is in the abstinence of the struggle of going, yeah, everyone around me is eating delicious looking food that I'll probably never get a chance to enjoy the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But that creates a discipline that increases the desire, even though it doesn't start out. And so if you're going, well, I don't have that desire, right, it's because you're not using this tool that God has given you to help increase that desire and discipline over some of the other things.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to fasting, we're simply just replacing something physical for something spiritual. That's what it is. It's a voluntary abstinence for a specific amount of time for the sake of maturity and self-discipline. And so this is, biblically speaking, food is what we fast from. We live in a world now that it's gotten very posh to fast from social media, which, that's good. That's not a biblical fast, though.
Yeah.
It's good. Like, I'm going to fast from secular music. That's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
All these, like, I've heard of all these different things that people fast from, and I just go, those are good things to do. Like, if you want to do 30 days of all Christian music, do it. That's awesome. You want to do 30 days, no TV, no social, great. But fasting is abstaining from food.
Yeah.
And so that's, like, this needs to be part of your discipline as a Christian. At some point in a given year, you need to deprive yourself of food so that way you can draw closer to the Lord and develop that desire. And I really do. I said it in the sermon. Fasting is the most underrated discipline. Like, it's easy to get people to read their Bible and to pray. Maybe not easy, but more people are doing that. And you go, how much are you fasting? And the average Christian would go like,
what are you talking about?
I've never fasted.
Yeah.
And honestly, I used to have a stronger discipline of fasting. And it's something that I would like to even get more than just when our church fasts together, get back into a rhythm of that.
Yeah.
Like the Pharisees, who, again, when they would fast, they would like make themselves look like they're fasting. So everyone would think how pious they are. But they had a discipline where they were fasting like 2 full days a week.
That's crazy.
Which I think is pretty remarkable. I know Christians that every week they have a day where they just don't eat. They're fasting once a week. I love the idea of that. It's not necessarily where I've gotten yet.
Yeah.
But I've done 40-day fast, multiple times, and it's a great discipline to go, you know what? My desires are not in charge. Mm-hmm. There's something greater within me that is in charge, and I'm reminding myself of those in those moments that my desires don't get to drive.
Yeah.
Those human fleshly desires, they don't get to drive. And so that's how you train the desire for power, for, lust, your desire for anything unwholesome.
Yeah.
Is you learn to break it by going, listen, that may be a desire that you genuinely have in your humanness, but there is something greater within you that can actually call the shots when you get real clarity about that. And so that's the power of fasting, is that it really can break some of those real fleshly desires and show you the power of the Spirit in your life.
Yeah. How can we train our hearts to desire God more than just the comfort or entertainment or convenience? Because I think that so many times, like, it's just like all the other stuff, the comforts, the conveniences, the television, like, how do we begin to make that shift in our lives? I mean, because, like, I've been following the Lord for 11 years now, 10 years now. And how do we begin to make this shift to where, okay, like, I want God more. Like, I've gotten to a point to where, like, I feel like I'm like I'm running after God in like every aspect of my life, like with my marriage, with my kids, with my job, with what I'm being asked to do, just anything that I'm trying. I want God to be the center of it. But I don't know how I got to this point.
Right.
Was it just something that, like, is it just like my surroundings? Is it the people that I'm associated with?
Oh yeah.
Is it like how, like, I'm trying to piece all this together. Like,
it's everything. And honestly, what happens, spiritual discipline or spiritual development is one of those things. It's I think a lot like getting healthy in any other area. Mm-hmm. You really don't notice it while it's happening.
Yeah.
But then there's a moment where you look back and you go,
huh.
Yeah, I had that moment this morning. Now, granted, again, I'm going to the gym very, very regularly.
Yeah. And
lifting much more than I could ever lift 4 months ago. But I'm still not eating very good. So I'm not necessarily losing a whole lot of weight, but there's I just happened to like notice my arms in the mirror this morning. I was like,
bruh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a bodybuilder, but like I'm like,
there's some definition.
Said, that's not what they looked like 4 months ago.
Yeah.
But like, it's not like you notice it every little step of the way. It's like at some point there's a difference that's made, and you look back and you go, oh, yeah, that's kind of what the spiritual development looks like. Is like you don't really notice it in the midst of it. You just look back at some point and go, wow. But then you can kind of begin to gather the data and go, what was happening during that time? I do think the people that you spend your time with, this is one of the number one things that will determine the success of yourself spiritually.
Yeah.
Like, again, I've been in ministry 15 years almost. The people that come to church and they're trying to walk with the Lord, but every moment that they're not at church are just surrounded by people that are not trying to follow the Lord. They are not where they need to be spiritually ever.
Yeah. Did you ever have this moment in high school, like whenever like you would get back from like a youth camp or something like that, and you're like, oh, like I'm on fire for God, and then you get back to school or around those same friends, and you're like, dude, I'm gonna win them. Yeah. Like, we're gonna get them for Jesus, and then like 2 days later, you're like, bro, I'm just back to square one.
Exactly. Yeah, it does. The people that you're around, like if you are spiritually hungry and you're hanging out with people that are not spiritually hungry, it's gonna have a negative effect on you.
It's dousing a fire.
And so I that's what I think is happening like around Southridge right now. Is there's just so many people that are just interested in actually diving in to their faith that it's having a really positive effect on a lot of people.
Yeah.
And people that I see, like, they come to church, but they go on vacations with non-believers. They spend all their weekends with non-believers, and they just have no like. And I don't mean like, oh man, I go to church. You know, that one other couple goes to church with us, and they're in our friends group, so that means we're hanging out. It's like no. Like, I mean, who in your life is like on fire spiritually?
Yeah.
And do you have a circle of those people that you're regularly around?
Yeah.
That really, really makes a difference in spiritual development. Your personal spiritual disciplines, though they're not meant to be a religious box to check, they do make the most significant difference. If you're not reading the Bible and praying regularly, I'm not one of those people who's daily. It's like, yeah, of course daily is the goal, but there's also a sense of shame that comes about when you say daily, and then someone had a rough day the day before, and they go, oh, I guess I screwed up. Just regularly. Is there a regular, I'm in the Word, I'm talking to the Lord, regular, I'm showing up for this relationship.
Yeah.
That is the number one indicator of what's going to develop your desires. And again, we talk about prayer and Bible reading, and you have to put fasting into that box. You have to have a time in the year, maybe regular. I don't know what it looks like for you personally. Maybe you just ask the Lord what it looks like for you. But that's what, again, will up this desire that you have for the Lord.
Yeah.
Is what you do privately and then who you spend your time with publicly will be the two things that make the biggest difference. And if you are hanging out constantly with people that are not on fire for the Lord, do not be shocked when your flame goes out or it's very dim. Like, just don't be shocked. You hang out with water all the time, like your flame's going to go out. Yeah. That's just what it is. And so that's why fasting can be so, if you find yourself in that situation, you go, what can make the difference? Why don't you commit to the Lord today? I'm going to do a 40-day fast. Because here's the two things that we learn about fasting is that it breaks the pattern of enslavement to lesser things. Mm-hmm. So fasting is one of those things that, like, if I want to break the pattern that I have of dependence upon things that don't matter, fasting is a great tool for that. I love this quote from Richard Foster. He says, how easily we begin to allow non-essentials to take precedence in our lives. How quickly we crave things we do not need until we are enslaved by them. And so he says, how quickly, like, stuff that doesn't matter, like social media, television, or whatever, food, things that don't matter, like they take precedence so quickly in our lives, and you can use fasting as a way to break yourself from those things. And then the second thing that fasting does is it actually frees you up to pursue what you want most. Yeah. So if what you really, really want most is relationship with God, well, when you fast from these certain activities, this is why, like, when I fast, I like to do a midday fast. So I like to fast from like 10 to 4, 10 to 5, because it means I'm not going to eat lunch. In the time period where I would normally either go out to lunch or have to make lunch or sit down and eat, that means I have that time right there that I can spend time drawing closer to the Lord.
Well, I think too, like going with the hunger fast or with the food fast, those hunger pangs that you are going through is one of those gentle reminders that, hey, God, my desire and my dependence is solely on you.
Yeah, I have this thing when I'm fasting, whenever I feel the hunger pain, that for me is the trigger to pray. Yeah. Right? And so there's this physical yearning for something, but instead of going and being satisfied with the physical means in that moment, that's a trigger for me to go, all right, now it's time to pray. Yeah. The fast is having its intended desire and intended effect on my body, and it's going to now drive me into prayer. And if you do that for a long enough season, you'll realize that you have now doubled, tripled, quadrupled your time with the Lord, and all of a sudden you're going to look back at the end of a season of fasting and go, wow, I'm further down the path than where I started. Yeah. Like, and so it really is. It's such an underutilized tool, and I wish more people would really, like, I've told the story till I'm blue in the face, but fasting's the reason why I'm still at Southridge. Like, I went through a 40 when I didn't know where God wanted me to be, because I felt like I was getting mixed signals in life. I just take 40 days and fasted about it, and that's how the Lord told me to stay whenever I was thinking about leaving. It was, 10, 12 years ago now. It was because of a fast. And so I'd say, like, if you got something that you're going on in your life that you don't know an answer, fast. If you got some sort of chain of sin that you can't seem to break free of, fast. If you got someone in your life that, hey, I want to see this person grow in their relationship with Jesus, or I want to see this person get saved, why don't you fast on their behalf? Like, if you've got a family member that's not saved, say, I want to do a fast. Every time I feel that hunger pain, I'm going to pray for so-and-so. Watch what happens. Like all these little things can be reasons why you might go to fast, and at the end of it, you'll look back and realize you're so much closer to the Lord than where you started. Yeah. So it's underutilized. I hope that we begin to utilize it.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. Like I said, if you want more on this conversation, you can go back and listen to our fasting series. But excellent reminder, a good refresh What is your funniest wrong place, wrong time story? That is our mystery meat question.
Wrong place, wrong time.
You just found yourself at the wrong place at the wrong time, but it's funny. You're like, I shouldn't be in here. Like you walk into a room, I don't know, maybe somebody invites you to go preach, and you're like, yeah, sure. And then you show up, and it's like nothing but a bunch of like kids, and you had something prepared for like adults or something. I don't know.
Wrong place, wrong time.
I've found myself just walking in the rooms thinking that like that would be like a room that I'm supposed to be in, but clearly it's not. Like you go to the hospital and then you just like walk into like this one and,
I gotta go in.
And there's like there's like a family of like just Spanish speaking people that are in there, and you're like, I'm so sorry, I'm in the wrong place.
Yeah. No, I have a go. This was a near miss.
Yeah.
But when my best friend Jason, his wife was having a baby down at one of the hospitals in Charleston, I was down there sitting with the family and everything. And, the process of having a baby can be quite long.
Yeah.
And so we're all sitting there, and, as the mother's going through the preliminary stuff, it's like it can take a little while. And so there's only so many people that can be back. And so we're all just switching off back and forth. And I was out in the lobby, and Jason had come out and goes, hey, you want to go back and pray and with Amy before and talk to her and all this? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. So I get up, I walk back there, and let me just, for anybody everywhere, when a hospital door is closed, especially if you're a pastor that listens to this, do not just open that door thinking that's how, the door's closed because it's a hospital.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Even if you know that there's like a curtain behind that door,
don't open a closed door. You knock and wait to be told to come in.
Yeah.
And so because I get there, I see this door's closed, and I'm like, well, that's weird. So I'm on the verge of opening this door. My best friend's wife is in there in labor, but we're thinking we have a couple hours.
Yeah.
And I go to knock on the door, and someone cracks it open real quick and goes, go get Jason. It's happening right now. I almost walked in at that moment. I almost walked in that moment. I'm so thankful that I know that a closed door is like, no.
Yeah.
Knock first. So I run back out to the waiting area and tell Jason, I'm telling you, she had this baby within like 10 minutes of me standing outside that door. Like it happened stupid fast.
Yeah.
And I was nearly in the wrong place at the wrong time, because that's not something that's not where you want to be.
Yeah.
When you're just the pastor showing up to pray with somebody. And so that was nearly a very difficult situation. I'm sure I could think of more, but that's the one that's on the top of my mind right now.
Yeah. I don't have any. I mean, I think I probably have too many that none come to mind, where it's just like, God, what am I like? I am not supposed to be here right now.
Right.
And it's just embarrassing.
Yeah.
And so I like things that are embarrassing. I tend to just like file in the delete.
Yeah. Let's act like this never happened.
Yeah.
File.
Just get this out of my memory bank as fast as we can. But appreciate you. Always have, always will. Enjoyed this conversation. We hope that you did as well. We'll see you next week for another episode of the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. Thank you so much for listening in with us today. We really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram. You can also watch the video version of this on YouTube as well. All you have to do is search up the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. From all of us here, we want to say thank you, and we'll see you next week.